It's time for Class Racing Today, the podcast for the NHRA class racing fan. Welcome back to another episode of Class Racing Today, classracingtoday.com, classracingtoday@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or want to help support the show, get in there as a sponsor, send us a note, and we'll get back to you and get that all lined up. Also, if you want a shirt, a sticker, classracingtoday@gmail.com as well. Bobby and Brian, Bobby's still, I think, on a high from last week. So, Brian, you're back in studio live. This is our second week in a row, back on the grind, I guess. What's going on in the world of Brian right now? I heard something about your car.
Yeah, hopefully this weekend we're gonna make some progress and tearing it apart and seeing what we got to work with. So hopefully my plans work and life stays out of the way for a couple days and we'll be good.
Awesome.
We had our Midwest Class Racers Make-A-Wish race was this weekend, and it's the first one I missed in 3 years, and everybody's probably sick of me texting and trying to get the updates because I wasn't there. And, it's just a really cool program. They've, for the last 5 years now, they've been able to do 2 races a year, or 2 Make-A-Wish. They basically make a kid's wish come true that's fighting cancer or whatever. And they've been able to do 2 wishes a year, grant them from the money they make off this race at $7,500 a race. So it's really cool. They used to have all the kids would come out and you can take them for rides in the car. Now with the COVID, whatever's still happening, that hasn't happened now in 2 years, but it was still cool that I think they had almost 51 cars show up. I decided to put a bounty on last year's winners. So Chris Kennedy took out Jason DeForest, I think, in about round 3 or 4 on Saturday. So he got the bounty money on that. And then Sunday, Kevin Leinert took out Brian Gross, who was last year's winner. So they picked up my entry fee since I wasn't able to come. So that was pretty cool to be part of that. Saturday, Doug Ingles ended up winning. Took out Kevin Leinert in the final. Both good friends of mine, really good drivers. So that was pretty cool. Doug and his Chevy 2 Super Stocker. Sunday, Todd Bergeson took out Jason DeForest in the final, and I think it was like 8/10 thou was the margin of victory. So that was a really cool race. And Todd has a white Chevy 2 too, so it was the weekend of the Chevy 2s down in Marion, South Dakota.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I said, Chris Kennedy took out Jason, and then Kevin Leinert actually took out Ryan Gross on Sunday for the bounty money. I actually said I like the bounties where if the guy you're trying to take out wins, he gets the money too. So that was, sorry, Jason and Brian, I wasn't trying to get you beat, but I just thought it would make it interesting. So, Bobby, what did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I watched racing on NHRA TV. So there was a national open at my home track, but I just couldn't. We were burnt out. We went to Maple Grove. From Maple Grove, we went to Indy. From Indy, we came back to Maple Grove for the national event. And then to just do it for a 4th week in a row and then possibly a 5th week in a row because Virginia double is this weekend. I was just like, dude, we got to take a break. I need to go home and see what's going on there. If I still have the home, if I'm still welcome in the home. And fortunately I was, and that's where I am now. Other than that, not much going on here.
That's good. You get your honey-do list caught up then.
Yes, I know. Goodness. Got one of them robot vacuum cleaners. I got that thing cruising all around the house. That saves me that effort right there.
Well, you could probably
like a robot crew chief and a robot engine builder, and I'll be set.
You win one race, must be getting in that contingency money now if you can afford the fancy things in life like a Roomba vacuum now with all your winnings.
That was actually a wedding present, believe it or not. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it.
You're getting married, you shouldn't have to have a Roomba vacuum anymore, shouldn't you?
Yeah, oh, easy.
Oh, that's awful.
Uh-huh.
And on that note,
let's introduce. By the way, I do like the fact that the Chevy 2s won this weekend. I'm a Ford guy, but I love the 66 Chevy 2 with a 283 in it. That's probably my favorite car by Chevrolet, especially when they're stick shifts. Which I saw Rochelle T. Bear is driving one now, like a super stock O stick.
She's
a red one.
actually she, from what I understand, is driving Gene Bickelmeyer's old car. So the car's got a little history and been around the world, and she's in there thrashing gears and picking up on that pretty quick, from what I hear.
Yeah, I saw a video. Man, that thing sounded good, and looks like she's driving pretty well too. So I'm sure she'll be going rounds in that thing pretty darn soon.
I've told that story 100 times, but the first time I ever pulled up staging and super stock or stock combo was against that car, and I was all nervous, and I'm watching the lights, and all of a sudden this insane noise came from the left of me, and Gene was cool because you're sitting there and all of a sudden you hear this wow, 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 just wide open, all the RPM. I'm like, does he just have an on switch? Like, you just flip a switch and it goes to full RPM when he launches that thing? Because I didn't even realize my tree was turning when I heard all the noise coming from over there. It was a qualifying, but I'll just never forget that sound. Like, holy crap, what's happening? It was really intimidating.
You should hear it when you're inside the car. It's even better. But today we have an awesome guest, a gentleman who just got his first national event win. He's actually been in a couple finals this year.
Sorry to interrupt, Bobby, but you kind of got talked about last week on the show. So are we just rehashing that again, or what? Nothing. Sorry.
He's talking about himself in third person.
Right.
I know, right? Sorry, I was like, what? Yeah. Isn't this amazing? All these first-time winners.
It's crazy.
Loving
I
it.
love it.
Loving it. That's our job. Our job is to keep the people that win all the time from winning. That's what we do. So yes, we do. He has an M stock automatic 1980 Chevy Malibu, doing it in the slow car. I love that just as much. I mean, if you put a stick shift in it, he'd probably be my favorite racer of all time, but we'll get to that later. Mr. Tim Stickles. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
So, Tim, you are coming off of your awesome win down in ZMax Dragway down in Concord, North Carolina, national event, and you are already, in line for another race. I mean, you don't take any breaks. Like, I feel like a schmuck right now, but you are just cruising this race to that race to this race to that race. So, where are you at right now? Tell us what you're doing.
So we left Charlotte yesterday and just headed straight to Virginia. It was only 3.5 hours. So, for me living in New Hampshire, I live 20 minutes from Epping. So it just makes sense to kind of, make this trip a 3-week trip. The amount of traveling that would take to come back and forth from New Hampshire would just be crazy. So, my dad's retired, so it just makes it a little bit easier for traveling wise.
Now, Tim, what do you do when you're not racing? What's your profession?
So I own a seamless gutter business. I've got a couple of great guys that work for me. They do a good job. I've got an office, a secretary, plus, she does a lot of my estimating and my quoting for me. So it makes it a little bit more lenient for me to be able to kind of travel around and do this stuff. It is hard because I feel like I'm missing a lot, especially, I'm away from my family. I just missed my daughter's birthday last week. She turned 4. So, they get it, but, it's easier being self-employed. I think being able to do this amount of traveling than anything else. And that's kind of really the reason why I went into doing it. I mean, I was a firefighter for 15 years and, I knew that drag racing was something that I really wanted to pursue. And it's hard to get time off and do the swaps and trying to beg, borrow, or steal for time off. And, so I just figured, I was working for a gentleman and, started to I never did gutters before and got into it and figured I actually kind of really liked it. So a couple years later, I just decided to start my own thing. And I actually recently just bought out his business. He got out of it and he owns another business. So I acquired all his equipment, inventory, and all that stuff. So, but yeah, like I said, I've got a really good crew at home, and they really make it so I can do this.
Excellent. That's great. Yeah. The self-employed, definitely helps, but it's, if you're not working, you're not making money either. So it's like you're not getting paid time off. Now, fortunately for you, you got, you have some help there with the employees taking care of things. So that's great. So Tim, tell us a little bit about like how'd you get into racing? How'd you get into these? I mean, you love these low class cars. I've seen you in your Malibu. I've seen you in, Patrick Downing's Wagon this year. I thought I saw you in another Malibu, unless I was just crazy, but I thought I saw you in 3 different cars this year. So give us a little background on what got you into racing.
So, growing up, when I was small, my father had a '69 Chevelle Wagon. That was his first race car that he ever bought. He bought it from Eddie Chin. And I believe it was a Tom Turo's car, which I think was I don't know, Midwest car. I'm not really sure where it came from, but 69 Chevelle Wagon, L stock automatic. And that was his first leap into stock eliminator and class racing. And, I grew up with that car and Steve Coltrera painted the car, and it was always just kind of a staple in my mind. And he ended up selling the car when I was fairly little. I think I was 6 or 7. And, he sold the car. Joe DiMarzo bought the car actually. And, he bought this Malibu that we have now in, 1990 and took it home. It was a, little old lady, 50,000 mile original car, really good shape. Started taking it apart and did a, basically frame off type build on it. And, it took 11 years to build the car because I was so heavy into baseball and everything else at the time. I was teens and we were traveling doing that. But yeah, he started with the Chevelle and he was, one of the original All-Star Racing Association members. And then he sold it. And back in 2012, I believe it was, he was kind of ready to hang it up. And I said, well, I'd like to try, actually at 2002, I'm sorry. He built the car in 2000. And in 2002, I said, I'd like to try. So we went over on an October day and I got in it and just to test and tune at Epping and did everything possibly wrong I could do in the car. And, I said, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. So, at the time I had a custom motorcycle that I was into, and I sold that and actually traded it for the Dodge Aspen that I had. And we completely rebuilt that. And that was my first stalker.
Oh, a Mopar. Brian likes those.
Yeah. Yeah, that car went to Indy. Dale Massengill has that car now out in Indianapolis. It was at Indy this year, and he runs that race every year. And so it was a, beautiful car. We completely rebuilt it and painted it and did all that stuff. And then, you start realizing how expensive Chrysler parts are compared to Chevy parts. And I said, well, we got the Malibu and no sense having 2 stalkers. So we got rid of that and bought a super stalker. And we kind of dabbled we attempt to run 2 cars. It seems like every time we try to bring 2 cars out, one's either broken or, it's tough, that, but the Malibu has always just been tried and true, and it's kind of the family car. So
my best friend in high school had an Aspen, and it was funny because whatever, 1979, he built a 360 and put a cam in it, and he's like, oh man, this is last on the muscle cars. And I'm like,
yeah,
this is like a grandchild of the last of the muscle cars. This isn't a muscle car. Like, but they probably make a great combo. There's just not a lot out. So I don't know how they worked as a race car or not, but how do you go from like Cudas and Challengers and Chargers and Roadrunners to an Aspen?
Yeah. And it's funny because the only reason why I really got into the Aspen was because the guy was willing to trade me for my motorcycle. I tried to sell it and it was a custom chopper that was, the craze back then, and just I couldn't get rid of it. And so this guy up in Poughkeepsie, New York, was willing to trade. And when we brought the car home, it actually was it said Steel City Missile on the side of it, and it was a companion car to Steve Benio's Duster that a friend of his had built. And you know, it was pretty ratty. It hadn't been touched in probably 20 years, and it was sitting in the basement at one time, I heard. And but you know, it was a great car. It was a beautiful car. Problem was, you know, it ran FG&H, and it was a 289 combo compared to the, you know, the Novas are all 280. So running with those guys with 9 more horsepower, and really, I don't think the 360 was all that. It's a great motor, but I think it could have had some horsepower taken off, but just wasn't meant to be.
Did you have any success when you first started, or did it take a long grinding process to get?
Believe it or not, the only race I ever won was the day I sold it to Dale. That we kind of made the deal over the phone. It was sold, and that particular weekend we were at an all-star race at Epping, and I lost first round, and then we did a gamblers race that night, stock super stock gamblers race, and I ended up winning that. So the one and only, you know, I guess you can call it a win, I guess, but that was it. And then a week later, it was gone.
And then you went to the dark side.
Yeah. Yeah. And believe it or not, the reason why we decided to sell it too is because, you know, we had broken the car, and Dad's car was, you know, the Malibu was pretty much almost ready to go. It had kind of been sitting. So we threw it together, and I started running. This is in 2012. I just started running it because the Aspen broke, and we were running the All-Stars, and I kept going rounds, started going rounds, and we ended up winning the championship by 1 point. So that's kind of when we decided, you know what? Everybody said, man, you do a good job in that car. You should just stick with that car. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. So that's when I said, let's get rid of the Chrysler and we'll stick with the Malibu.
Now, did you guys do your own motors, transmissions, that kind of stuff? Always have, or?
Leon Moranian does our trannies. We've never really done much with the trannies ourselves. And then we used to assemble all of our own motors and stuff. Tommy Boucher does all our machining and everything. And last year we ended up wiping out 2 cams, and you know, we just had a really terrible year last year. And I finally just said, you know what, let's just we gave the motor to Tommy over the winter, and I said, I want you to, you know, we new pistons, let's update it, freshen it up. When it's ready to go on the dyno, let me know. And you know, it's the first time that my dad always did our motors for us. So not that, I mean, he's very capable and he loves doing it. I just wanted to kind of take the burden off of his hands and just say, you know, we're busy enough. We've got 2 cars still, and we, you know, we got a lot to do. So I just said, you know, I think it's time to just let Tommy do it and just be done with, you know, having to do that aspect of it.
Is that a 305 combination then, the Malibu?
Yep, 305.
Tim, what's the advertised and NHRA rated for that?
It's 180. Now it's now 232. We got 2 horsepower over the winter. And it was actually the Cutlass that got 2 horsepower. They were 229 and we were 230. And then the Cutlass went to 232 over the winter, and we were still at 230. And then NHRA said, we're just going to lump it all together and give everybody the 2 horsepower. So now we're at 232.
So since it was the same engine family, they just kind of put you all at 232.
Yeah. And it's all the G-body family too, I guess. I don't know if they go by that, but so.
All right. Well, I need just to get about 10 to 15 more, and then I'll be set. Let's talk about your win here at ZMax. So, I mean, you guys got 2 qualifying hits on Friday.
Yep.
And I was watching all day, and I just seeing how everybody was running. It didn't look like your 2 qualifying sessions on the tree went probably as you had hoped. So let's talk about that a little bit and how you kind of fixed it.
Yeah. So, I've always just been a foot brake guy. I've never two-stepped anything. Um, the car, we've been having some issues. The car hasn't been 60 footing real great lately. We changed converters before epping. It worked out, but it didn't pick us up as much as we kind of were hoping it would. So I hooked up a two-step and I said, I want to at least try it. And so for the first two qualifying passes at ZMax, I was trying the two-step and I wasn't focusing. I think I was 87 the first time on the tree. And then the second time I was like 111. And I realized when on the second time trial, I'm still watching my tack, and instead I should just be pressing the button and flooring it. And I was doing too much. So I said, you know what, I said, I wanted to try it. The car did pick up a couple on the 60 foot, but it wasn't worth it. I said, I don't want to experiment at a national event. So I just went back to foot braking, and scratched the whole two-step. I'll try it again, but I need some practice time or a test and tune to try to dial it in. But, and then, so after that I was, a little more consistent or a little bit more normal, I would say. I mean, I can't be 00 teens or 20s if I want to be, but as long as I can hit the tree and be decent, I'm usually pretty happy with that. So.
Well, first round, you get paired up against this year's Las Vegas 4-wide national event winner, Connor Statler.
Yeah.
And I believe he's in a 69 Camaro. Can't remember what class. I'm thinking A, B, or C.
I think it was A stock automatic. Yeah.
And you really turned it around. You're 026 on the tree, dialed a 1204. You go 1204 with a 0, picking up that right on the money award too. I hope you had the sticker. Did you have the sticker on the car?
I had it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's funny because I made that round and my win light came on and I knew he was going to be tough. I knew he won the Vegas National. I actually ran him at Atlanta also. I think it was first round there also when I had the wagon and at the National. I beat him there too. But I wasn't trying to think about that. He's a good racer. I know he's in with the Stanfields and he's got the support behind him. So, I just wanted to be decent on the tree. Again, it was my first time, just going back to the foot brake. So I was kind of going in green and, I got my, I rolled up to the time slip booth and the guy's like looking my car all over real hard. And I'm like, what's leaking? What's wrong? So I got like my tire fall off. Like what's he looking at? And so he hands me the slip and he says, all right, he goes, pull up to the scale. So I pull up to the scale and, they hand me my fuel thing and they said, you got the decal? And I'm like, what decal? They said, the right on decal. I go, you ran dead on with a 0. I said, kidding me? So, I looked at it and I was surprised. I think the next, second round, Corey Alexander ran dead on with a 0-2. I think there's a couple of guys that did it. So, I'm not really sure how it works, but I think either way, if we got money coming to us, we're splitting it up, which is good. I'm happy for everybody else that was able to do it too.
I think it's just the first one to do it, right? Do you know how much money that award pays?
I thought it was $1,000 and it gets, from what I heard, because really nobody's really sure, and hopefully clarify, but from what we understand, it's $1,000 unless there's a rollover or anything like that. And it's everybody that does it. So if two guys do it, then it gets split in the middle. You each get 500.
Oh, man.
And
brutal.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be split 3 ways because I think somebody in Supercomp did it too, but I don't even know. Really.
Oh, you have to split with another class too. Well, anybody listening right now, they can comment if they know about this award or if they won this award. Comment and let us know how this works. Thank you.
And I can't remember, Bobby, maybe did you get it at Reading or did somebody else get it at Reading?
No, I think somebody got it. I didn't. So,
okay.
I remember somebody getting it and I was thinking, oh man, now it's too late for me. I can't get it. I just thought it was the first person. So
I do, to be honest with you. And but I don't know, I've heard 5 different stories. So hopefully somebody out there can clarify.
There's no money at all. It's just a advertisement ploy. No. Understood.
that's right.
Now, right trailers looks like they're very, very present right now at national events. And we always appreciate that. Anybody that's, contributing to our classes at our races, we appreciate and we welcome it. So thank you, Right Trailers. So from there, I mean, after taking that, that's probably a little confidence because you played possum, 111 on the tree. I mean, Statler probably came into it thinking, all I got to do is be 40 or 50 and I got this guy. And then you crank out a no 26 light on him.
Yeah.
So your strategy worked out perfectly.
The element of surprise, it worked, right? It was my only defense, and that's what I stuck with.
There you go. That was all planned.
Yeah.
So then you had Greg Rowe, who also won a national event this year, I think.
Yeah, he won Atlanta.
He won Atlanta, yeah.
And I went into that one, same thing. I'm like, here we go. It's another hitter. Greg's a very good racer. He's been doing it a long time. He's always, I joked with him. I said, I never know what you're driving these days because I looked at the qualifying sheet, and every time I look, he's in somebody else's car. But he's always going to be solid. And I tried to study a little bit. I saw some of his lights and stuff, and I said, I said, just be green. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to try to cut down the tree. And I don't ever try to cut down the tree because to be honest with you, I get more disappointed if I go red than anything else, but I just try to be green. And, I was a tick better than him on the tree, and it paid off.
Excellent. Now at this race, I think it was the first time in maybe a little while at a national where they're running cars at night, sportsman cars at night. So they ran you guys 2 rounds Saturday morning, back to back pretty quickly. And then they run the pros, I think, 2 sessions of the pros maybe for TV time?
One session Friday.
One session. Well, that was Friday qualifying, but Saturday during eliminations, right? 2 rounds in the morning. And then, then I think 2 rounds of pros. And then they came back to you guys at nighttime. Yeah. So now that changes the whole element up. When now we're racing at night, people that are blocking the tree have to make the decision whether they're going to continue to do that at night. Visors up, visors down. Does it help or hurt? If you're a slow reactor, does that increase your, give you a better reaction time? Does it make you go red? So how did you feel about having to race at night?
Honestly, it doesn't bother me. I actually like racing at night. To me, the bulb is a lot bigger, so I have to kind of calm myself down because I think I see it faster. So I have gone red at night before, but for me, the biggest thing, I don't block. I don't do any of that stuff. I wear sunglasses, and at nighttime, obviously you can't wear sunglasses unless you really don't want to see, but that's the only thing I thought. I knew that the bulb was going to look different than daytime sunglasses compared to nighttime no glasses. But I just, again, I tried to just be green. That's all I wanted to do. In the back of my mind, I want to, I try to hit the same spot, but again, at night, it just seems like you're so close to it that it's just much bigger to me. But, I got a little bit fortunate. I know, I was talking with Corey Alexander before that round, and he was, a little bit worried. He said, I'm either going to be red or very green. And, he was kind of struggling on the tree. And, so I said, well, same deal for both of us. I said, I just want to be green, let's have a race at the top end and see what happens. And, so, I think he was 111 on the tree or something like that. And it gave me gave me room up at the top end. So.
Right. And then Sunday rolls around. And this is the thing with these national events. I mean, 3 different days. You could be seeing the tree great on Friday. You could be horrible on Saturday. You could be great on or vice versa. Sunday rolls around and you were just knocking the tree down, So what happened on Sunday? I mean, usually some guys can go into Sunday maybe a little timid. Hey, I'm in the semifinal. I don't want to go red. And, they could be 50. And that was not the case with you. You had Larry Hill, who's basically a touring pro at this point. He basically hits every race on the tour. And, man, you came out firing 018 on the tree. And then your final round against Brad Plourd. I mean, this guy's won what? He's been in 35 national event finals, or he has 35 Wallies, I think they said.
Yep.
What was your strategy going into the final round against him?
Well, against Larry, in the semifinals, I told myself, because I went to the semifinal at Gainesville in the Wagon. Can you? Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
Mm-hmm.
In the Wagon, and I just said to myself, when I was there, I knew I had Jimmy Hidalgo, and I said, I got to, I know he's good on the tree. I just wanted to be a little bit better, on my end, and I ended up creeping through the beams. So I said, as long as I don't creep through the beams, just be green. Let's make this one worth it. And so, it worked out against Larry, and then against Brad. I mean, same thing. I went up there and I saw the bulb really good against Larry. So I tried to hit that same spot on the bulb against Brad, and I took off. I was green. I looked at the scoreboard. He was green. And, we came down, and I'm like, man, I don't think he's going to get there. And so I got on the brakes, and it wasn't until I saw Amanda Busick at the top end that she goes, man, you crushed on the tree. And I didn't know what it was until I saw the time slip, and it was 004. And I said, well, I guess the biggest thing, I didn't want to look stupid in the final, and I guess that was, I achieved my goal. So it was, I couldn't even believe it. I'm still on cloud 9.
Oh, believe me, I know the feeling now. I'm happy to say I know the feeling now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you got interviewed, by Fox Sports. I don't know if I didn't watch Fox Sports coverage. I was watching the NHRA TV coverage. So I hope you made it to their TV coverage. That'd be awesome. Did they pull you up and interview in front of a crowd again? Did they do like a stage?
No, they didn't do that actually this time. But I didn't even know where to. They told they go up the right side of the track. So I went up. I followed Dan Fletcher. And he went up. So I just kind of followed his lead, and we went into the staging lanes, and they, where they were doing pictures and stuff. And so I said, that was that. And,
that's a good lead to follow. I'm sure he knows exactly where to go.
Yeah.
In situations like that.
I said to Dan, I said, man, you've done this 105 times now. I said, I can't even imagine what that must feel like. It's my first one. And I got it, every racer hopes they get one at least in their lifetime, so I'm just very humbled, and I'm just very happy. So
did you be like, Dan, do you got any notes? Like, what should I say or not say? Like,
yeah, it's, Dan is, he's such a nice guy to talk to, you know what I mean? And it was just nice to be there for my first and his 105th. And it was just a pretty cool experience all around.
Now, you mentioned the wagon that you had earlier. So you purchased a wagon from Patrick Downing and ran it for a little while, and then you sold it, correct?
Yes, kind of. When that car came up for sale, we talked about it, and I said, that car is such a good deal. I can't believe nobody's bought that thing yet. It's a fast car. And so, sitting in the garage talking with my dad one night, I said, we should just buy it. And I mean, I knew I wanted to go down south, and I knew my stuff wasn't going to be ready. We were waiting for pistons and stuff for the Malibu. So we bought it. We met Charlie Downing actually out in Pennsylvania, and we picked it up, brought it home, and brought it down to Gainesville, and we struggled the first at the baby gators, and kind of find out it was my own doing. I put an inline fuel filter in, all new fuel lines, and it didn't like the filter. It just wouldn't run. So we got rid of that and bypassed it. So after that, the next race was the Gators. We went to the semis there. And then we went to, we ended up at the semis at South Georgia Divisional, and it was just a really good car, and we went to Atlanta with it. And I happened to be behind Paul Candy's and Hughes team, and he came up to me and said, man, my wife really likes this car, and kind of joked. He said she wanted me to, see if you wanted to sell it at South Georgia. And he said, then you went to the semifinals, and he said that I pretty much, he probably doesn't want to sell it. And I kind of chuckled and said, well, everything's for sale. And, I didn't really need 3 cars. I just, it was a good deal. And he came over later that night, looked it over, and decided that, they wanted the car. So I said, well, if I could run it for Charlotte, which was the following race, I said I was already entered and had plans to fly home and everything else. So we did that. We ran Charlotte, and then we left the car at Jimmy and Pam Marshall's house down in South Carolina, and they picked it up from there. So.
Wow. Now was that an identical, was that the same 305, 180? Was that the same exact motor that's in your Malibu?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it was a good car. It just was consistent, and, it did everything that, the 60 foots were always the same. I mean, it was just a nice straight shooting car.
And that worked out. That was a really good idea there. Really good plan.
Yeah.
Now, rumor has it you picked that car up in Pennsylvania in the winter. Was it snowing? I heard it was snowing when you guys picked that car up. That's what Billy Pyers told me.
Yeah, we met him in Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was, I think, the coldest day of the year. And we did, we kind of did the exchange as fast as we could, and went back. We ended up getting a hotel. We wanted to, it was, I don't know, 10, 12 hours for us from there. So we loaded up in my enclosed, spent the night, and then drove home the next day.
If money was no object, what car would you race? I mean, do you want to stay with these low class? I shouldn't say low. I hate when people say low class, like they have no class. But these slower cars, I should say, because they're high class cars, in my opinion.
Yeah,
classy as classy can be.
That's right. Honestly, I wouldn't want to drive anything else other than what I have. I really like what I've got now. I guess it's really no secret. I like being chased. I like a clean tree, and I'm not good at chasing. I found that out, and I've had to chase a couple of slower cars, and I guess once you get used to it, it might be better, but I'm not that good at it. So I'd like to, I like what I got. I've got another one, a super stalker that's at home that just got painted, and that's going to be also a 305 super stock combo. So that one, hopefully we can test it before the snow flies, but we'll see. If not, it'll be out next year.
So it's going to be another 80 Malibu, a true super stock 305, like a super stock, what, K or J or?
Yeah, it's actually, we got that one as an 81. It'll be a super stock L automatic, or I can run a GTO automatic, same weight break, same index. So it can kind of flip flop between the two.
Cool, man. Well, that's the beauty of super stock. You can go back and forth, which we see a lot of people do. And I don't know how NHRA can keep up with it. You're in super stock this week. You're in GT next week. Your car's a 87 Camaro this week. It's an 89 Camaro next week. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, when you got Chevys, you got options, baby.
That's right. A friend of ours used to say, he was a Chrysler guy, and he always used to say, "Oh, you Chevy guys, you can get speed parts at Walmart if you need to."
Every gas station has them hanging on the corner by the oil and antifreeze. And here's a set of pistons for
That's
305.
Right. Yeah. You can go to a Shell station and get a set of head gaskets or something if you need it. Whatever.
Tim, how was the tech at Charlotte? I forgot to mention because at Reading, at Indy, they sealed my carburetor up right after Q1, and they were tearing people down as they do at Indy, which was expected. So that was cool. But at Reading, I got pulled off the scale. Second or third round of stock, they pulled me off the scale and popped my hood. He had a voltmeter in his hand. He went straight to my battery up in the front and checked it. And it came, it was a 12-volt battery. So they saw the 12.5 volts. Yep. And he said, "All right, you're good. Go ahead." And in super stock, they pulled me off the scale third or fourth round and just popped the hood. And they were just looking. I don't know what they were looking for. And he just kind of was peeking around, looking at stuff. He still saw the paint on there from Indy on the carburetor. And he said, "All right, you're good. Go ahead." So they were doing spot checks, and I like that. Were they doing anything like that in Charlotte?
No. So the only tech that I really saw, obviously, was your typical fuel check. which I actually failed. I actually got DQ'd after the first time shot. They didn't like the fuel, which was the same fuel I was running at Maple Grove the week before. All we did was drive down to Charlotte, and we run C11, and it just didn't pass. I tried it twice, and so I went back and grabbed the new jug that I have, and I brought it up to him, and it checked perfect. So other than that, I don't know, other than weights and other than that, but I didn't hear of any kind of actual teardown tech or anybody really getting looked at for anything.
All right. Yeah. Real quick though, that C11, have you seen any performance differences? Have you tried any other fuels besides that? Like, have you tried C12? Have you tried Sunoco?
Yep, I have tried C12. I run VP. For one, nobody in my area even sells Sunoco. And Steve Coltrera, who is the Eastern VP fuel sales, he lives 20 minutes from my house, so I get everything from him. But we have, Tommy Boucher has dynoed, and he said that C11 does make, more horsepower. So I just use it, assuming that it's making more power. I know the C12 is a little bit, $1 or so, less a gallon, but we've run C11 for so long, we stick with it. Honestly, this is the first time I think that I've ever not passed fuel check. And I just came from another national event where it was fine. So I don't know what happened in the couple of days, but obviously they just didn't like it.
It could have been the measuring tool. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's my fear though, is not being able to get the VP at the track, because Sunoco's there, VP's not allowed to be. And that's why I had switched to Sunoco a couple years back, because I just wanted easy access. Mm-hmm. But now I just recently switched to VP before I went out to Indy, and I'm sticking with that.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed much gain yet. The car's been consistent with it, and I did pick up a little bit of mile an hour to the 8th mile. I guess I could say that. So I need to experiment though, timing and jetting and things like that, and I haven't really had a chance to. But Tim, we thank you very much for spending your time with us. We know you're in line there at Virginia Motorsports Park for the Division I double this weekend.
Yep.
Again, for me, that's going to be a game day decision if I can get down there, and I hope to see you if I do get down there. And we wish you luck down there in a points hunt, possibly.
Yeah, I know we still have to finish. So me and Todd Bednaz still have to finish the final from the Epping Divisional here. So I know he's coming. Neither one of us we're gonna go to Maple Grove for the divisional, and I didn't even realize they would finish a divisional race at a national event when they finished Greg Gay and Lincoln Moorhead's final. So, but we had decided that we were both gonna go to Virginia after Epping. So hopefully we can maybe come home with 2 Wallies. But even if we don't, we'll be happy for Todd also. So Todd's a good friend of ours, and so it should be another exciting weekend, and hopefully you can make it down, and we'd love to see you and your dad again, obviously. And, looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit of rain tomorrow, but other than that, the weekend looks pretty good. So.
All right. Well, best of luck. Don't run out of room in that truck with all those Wallies if you start winning all of them.
I got the bed too. I can open that up, so we'll be okay. So,
all right. Tim Stickles. Yeah,
I appreciate you having me on, and just real quick, I want to just thank my wife Cassandra and my daughter Faye. I mean, they're my biggest fans, so I miss them. They're actually driving down here tomorrow to hang out for the weekend, so should be a good time.
Oh, that's the best. The family's coming down. It doesn't get much better than that. I love when the family can be at the races with me.
Absolutely.
So we wish you luck this weekend. Thank you for coming on, and have a safe trip back to New Hampshire after the weekend's over.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
This is Class Racing Today. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks, Tim, for taking time in your truck. Also, the technical difficulties were cleared up, so it was great. Bobby and Brian, any last thoughts you have before we carry on out of here? All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you guys. ClassRacingToday.com. If you want to help support the show, ClassRacingToday@gmail.com. If you want a sticker or a t-shirt, send us a note there as well. Check us out on the social medias at Class Racing Today. Hope to see you next week. Have a great time. Catch you later.